Hello, everybody. Welcome to a Week 5 matchup in the Walker division. Today we've got the Killer Kappas facing off against the Cyberpunk Otters with some pretty heavy playoff implications. On the side of Cyberpunk, they're already into the playoffs, but they could play spoiler and send the Killer Kappas out of the playoff race, send them into ninth so they do not make it. While on the side of the Kappas, they're playing to get in. If they win today, they can move up to third place in the standings moving into the playoffs. I'm your chair one, T Pity one. I'm here with chair two, one of the top junglers in the Walker division. It's ISO. And on production, we've got Wolfie Pup, and we're getting straight into the bans. On the side of Cyberpunk Otters, they're going to ban Ganesha, Athena, and Chernabog, three pretty meta picks. While on the side of the Kappas, they're going to take out an Awilix and a Danzaburo, followed up by a Raijin. What are we thinking about these bands so far, ISO?
I think the bans on the side of Killer Kappas are definitely targeted. Sox has a really good Danza. I don't really know who the Awilix is for. I think it may be for Rory. I don't think I've ever seen him play it. But obviously they think it's a must ban. And then we've got the Raijin, pretty standard. Don't want to see him in the game.
Yeah, and as we move into this, the Cyberpunk Otters are going to lock in the Maman, who's going to be going towards Zapkiel in the jungle, who is where that Awilix band was. He is a very good Awilix. While on the side of the Killer Kappas, they're going to lock in Anubis and Mulan, two of their favorite gods so far this season. Noxiox went 16-3, I believe it was, on the Anubis a couple weeks ago, and Crouton Crusader has shown he can show out on this Mulan pick. He loves those aggressive solo laners. And on the side of Cyberpunk Otters, for Dead Dank memes, they're going to lock in that Cronus, a pick he's very comfortable with. We've seen him play it a couple times before. And an Al Plotch going towards Davo comes in that solo lane. Uh, Dave kind of upset that the mage solo meta is ending, but he's still going to keep on playing those mage solos until they absolutely cannot be played anymore. How do you kind of feel about the Cronus into Anubis mid lane?
I like that. I'm more worried about this Alposh because Alposh definitely copped the worst nerf out of everybody in this last patch. So I'm kind of excited to see how he's going to play into this Mulan. The Chronos into Anubis, I like it. As long as Chronos gets the right amount of anti heal, he should be able to burst that Anubis down.
Yeah, and we see from both sides, they all choose to lock in their solo, mid, and jungle in the top three. We've got the Maman into the Rat. Rat, always a great pickup with that semi global ult. Mulan, sort of a lame bully, kind of exactly what you want to see playing into those mage solos. And then Anubis and the Cronus, like you said, just depends on how that matchup goes, if Cronus can get the right amount of anti heal. And as we move into these bans, we are still looking at the dual lane. No supports, no carries taken. We've seen a Donzo, we've seen a Chernabog ban. What are other carries? And I guess we've seen Athena and Ganesha for support bans. What are other carries or supports that you would like to see coming in on either side?
Um, yeah, definitely, probably the Ares man. I would have liked to see get out. Uh, I think personally, Cyberpunk should get rid of this Ymir because looking at their team, they don't have any way around that wall or any wall for that matter. That
No,
Ymir can
yeah.
really put some devastation on their team.
Yeah, and we do see the Aries and X Ball coming in against Rory and Jacob Frost. Oh, I'm not too familiar with. I'm not sure if he does play X Ball. While on the other side, they're gonna lock in a Geb and an On Her ban. I will say the On Her is definitely a good ban. Kalo found extreme comfort in that pick this season. It's one of his top most played carries. So we're gonna see Kalo switching it up. On the side of Killer Kappas, we do have two subs. We've got Sniper Glenn filling in the jungle for not a big deal, and Shrimp filling in for Pineapple TV in the support role. We do see the Ratatosker that's going to be going over to Sniper Glenn, who actually played against Killer Kappas last week on that Ratatosker and went 13-0, I believe it was on it. So a pretty big pick to give up over toward Sniper Glenn, as we see the Artemis being hovered on the side of Cyberpunk Otters. Not a pick that we have seen Jacob Frost play on yet, but pretty solid. We've seen a couple carries such as Niyuki play on that this season. He's been pretty successful using that. Haven't really seen her too much other than that, but Killer Kappas are going to lock in Karen for the support, so kind of aggressive. Maybe like to see Izanami going over into that carry lane to keep some of that early pressure up, especially if the Artemis is going to be the choice for the Cyberpunk Otters.
I'm definitely seeing a clear strategy for Killer Kappas. Hold him still for Anubis. That's pretty much it. Like, um, on the side of Cyberpunks, I'm not really sure what they're going for. They switched that. They're. It looks like the Mamon's not going jungle like we thought, unless that's a Nejas support.
We have seen the Neja support come out a little bit more, be used by a couple supports in the Walker division, namely Tiny. He likes to use the Neja support, and that'll be interesting to see how that lanes into the Charon, the Neja Apollo lane, unless it is the Maman going into support. But I can't see Zapkiel giving that up. He went, I think it was 9-1 on that last week, so I'm not sure. But anything could happen. He could switch it up and go for the Neja. But let's see what this response in the carry role is gonna be, and that's gonna be a Hachiman being hovered for the side of Killer Kappas. Kinda just good at everything. Not really, he's just a very good carry god. And playing into that Apollo who has that global pressure can be, I'm not gonna say bad in general, but bad for rotations because Apollo can go wherever he wants, and Jacob, I'm sure, will use that to his fullest. But how you like in both team comps?
I'm looking more towards Cyberpunk Otters. I know this their comp looks a little weird, but I feel like they've got more team fight capability. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, and
We've got the Neja ult into Alpwash and Maman bomb, and then we've got Kronos to just hold people in that Alpwash ult. This Alpwash can definitely cause some damage for the enemy team.
yeah, 1000%, and especially in the hands of Devo Comes, who has been one of our top solo laners this season. And as we look into it, I think that the most important matchup that we're going to see come out is going to be that jungle matchup. We are going to see Sniper versus Zapkiel, who Sniper has been putting up kills. He does hold the kill record at 19 for the season so far. Did that on Pele a couple weeks ago. But Zapkiel has shown, and he showed last week, his aggression coming out of the jungle is really what this Cyberpunk Otters team needs. He recently got subbed in, and he likes to go on for early pressure, early ganks, grab a couple kills, help his side lanes get ahead. So I guess we'll see how Sniper reacts to that, and if Zapkill's early on aggression can lead to the Cyberpunk Otters kind of snowballing this game, which is what they've kind of tended to do. I know as a jungle player yourself, that's got to be what you're excited, what you're looking for. So
Mhm.
in this Milan versus Ratatosker matchup, what exactly are you kind of looking at?
I'm definitely scared for this Maman, actually. Maman, she's a nice jungler and all, but her early game presence really isn't there too much comparatively to the Rat, who is everywhere all the time, does such massive damage in this early game. I'm not quite sure how you would go into that with a Maman, other than trying to steal as much farm as you can. from this round.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put you on the spot again. You know, we've got a little bit till the game starts. Both teams are just kind of getting into position. But looking at both comps, knowing what you know about the players, about the teams, who are you predicting to win this game one?
I'm definitely predicting Cyberpunk Otters to take this game one.
Cyberpunk Otters, and I hate to be the guy, but I think I'm going to oppose you and go with the Killer Kappas on the other side. I love their team comp. Lots of comfort picks here: the Ratatosker, the Mulan, the Anubis, who we've seen we've seen these players do well on these gods before. Um, I think that we'll see how Dave deals with the early aggression from Crouton Crusader in this solo lane. I know he said he was excited about this matchup, excited to be able to box somebody, but in this early game it might not be that fun for the Outwash playing into the Mulan. Um, but yeah, he's we're excited to see what's going to come out today, and I know you said that you're excited to see this jungle matchup. I'm excited to see the jungle matchup, so we'll see where this all kind of goes.
I think if this game lasts longer than 30 minutes, it's definitely a Cyberpunk win.
Scaling on that side, and I think a matchup that not a lot of people will be looking at, but is definitely going to be important, will be this duo lane. This Apollo versus Hachiman, Halo versus Jacob Cross. Not necessarily, you know, two of the like carries though will put up 15 kills, but definitely important team fighting carries. And in those team fights and in this lane, just based on the god pick, not really too much on the players. Who are you looking at taking the top of this matchup, kind of coming out on top early through moving through mid and late between the Hachiman and the Apollo?
Apollo should come out on top of this. I know it's a little weird seeing it right now. I feel like Charon and Hachi should definitely have pressure over Neja and Apollo. Oh, looks like we got a first blood already on Devo.
Yeah, we see an early kill going over to Crouton Crusader on the side of Killer Kappas. A minute and a half in, Dave said he would be excited for the boxing. He got a little bit too much of what he asked for. Crouton Crusader showing just how aggressive he plans on being in this early game for the Killer Kappas, and that is a perfect start if you're on their side. One thing that you were worried about is the aggression from Cyberpunk early on, which they have shown in so many matches, and how Killer Kappas would deal with that. As we saw them struggle with it last week against the Calder's Good Boys, as we see first shield buff go over to the side of the Kappas, Sniper Glenn making that rotation, and Maman is right on top of him. Zapio's looking for something with that, but just kind of running him off, scaring him away. But over in that solo lane, they are boxing again, as Neja is looking for a purple invade this early on and does not find anything. But pretty much what we expected from that solo lane, the early on kill, going in the favor of the Mulan. Good plays by Crouton Crusader. Is that kind of what you have to do on Mulan, is just stay aggressive and try and keep this outwatch down?
That's what you have to do when you're facing an outwash anyway. You just gotta stay in his face. You know, you don't get no bodies, no nothing. You just gotta fight me this entire time.
Yeah, and clear awareness of that fact from Crouton, showing the aggression that we talked about early on. Over in this duo lane, the pressure coming out from the Apollo and Neja early on is surprising, like you said. We kind of expected the Hachi to come out and put some pressure on them, the Hachi and this Charon, as Neja is once again going over looking for this purple invade. It's looking like that's kind of what they want to do. They want to try and keep this Hachiman down. As the blue invade does come out from Crouton, is he going to be able to grab that from Dave? He does not. Dave is going to manage to do that, and he is chasing for that kill. not going to be there, but there is Zapkio coming over. Sniper Glenn also making that rotation. We have a 2-on-2 over this blue buff, but a lot more health on the side of the Cyberpunk Otters as they manage to take that blue buff. This might be a double kill for Zapkio if he can get his hands onto the Mulan. He cannot, manages to get away both with their life and just losing a blue buff as Naziax grabs a kill onto Dead Dank Memes, and there's a fight in this left lane over the second shield buff as the Kappas grab that again, uses the shell on Shrimp Warrior, but Seox manages to grab a kill onto Dead Dank Memes as Davo responds in the solo lane with a kill onto Crouton Crusader. That's going to be 2-1 so far in the favor of Killer Kappas as that kill meets Nasiax in the middle. Not really going to do too much damage. Early game Maman once again, but going to contest him over these mid-right camps. So far, we've seen quite a bit of aggression early on, 4.5 minutes in, as Sniper's coming over looking for this Maman. Does quite a bit of damage onto Zapkio, who manages to stun and run away, but Ratatosker wants blood. He's hunting, and DDM is going to get found by Naziax. The Maman comes in and does some damage and trying to get out away from Ratatosker. Low health bar on the side of Zapkio as Rat dashes in. She is looking for the great escape as Rat is in the air looking for this kill onto Zapkio is Sniper Glenn, and he is going to manage to secure that. Great job by Sniper Glenn to chase and grab that kill, and great job by Seox to kind of zone the Cronus out, get his health low, make sure he cannot help his jungler out. Good plays from both sides coming out so far as we got 3-1 on the sides of Killer Kappas in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, this is definitely what I expected going in. Cyberpunk doesn't really have an early game set up here. I think I'd like to see more invasions go on from Zap or even Sniper. Like, he just got that kill and walked away.
A little more aggression out of the junglers as Shrimp Warrior does a decent amount of damage to Dead Dank Memes in this mid lane as both supports are starting to rotate over, look to help this mid lane out as Zap does pull both of these camps together, looking to catch back up in levels. He is down a level due to that kill from Sniper Glenn, but so far the only lanes where we're really seeing too much of a difference as there is a fight going down on this blue buff. Crouton once again looking for the blue buff of the Cyberpunk Otter solo lane, but Zap is just saying, I'm just gonna kill you. I'm not even gonna scare you off as Crouton does manage to grab the blue buff. That's an Alpatch ult down. That's gonna be a kill for Zapkio, who is gonna go straight over and take this blue buff back, make sure his solo laner does get a blue buff. So far early on, we're seeing a lot of attention to this solo lane from both junglers, and you gotta wonder when the first gank coming over to the duo lane is gonna be, as so far all the kills have been on the side of this solo lane. If you are both junglers, as Rory Mercury is getting his health absolutely extinguished, super low, manages to get out on this Neja. Charon ult is down, manages to almost put him in range of that Anubis. He manages to get out, but this mid lane coming out from Naziax, Killer Kappas are putting a ton of pressure onto the Cyberpunk Otters in all their lanes, as we see Kalo is starting to push the Apollo back into his tower. Lots of pressure early on, like you said, coming from this Killer Kappas lineup as Zapkio's looking to do something in this left lane. There is a ward that he did walk over, so Kalo knows he's there, is backing up to the tower. A good ward, good backup from the side of Kalo. Good response from Zap to try and get some pressure back off of his carry, who is down at half health with Shrimp Warrior coming over, and Sniper Glenn is eyeing the Apollo, but not going to be able to do anything before he gets on his tower. Zap did stay over there for the assistance. We wanted to see a movement into this duo lane. We did get to see it, but this pressure in mid lane is pretty substantial from the side of Killer Kappas. They're putting a lot of damage onto the members of Cyberpunk Otters and not really letting this mid lane do what he wants to do on this Cronus.
Yeah, as a Kronos, you just want to sit back. You want to get some attack speed and some damage going. And then you really shine that mid to late game. He
Yeah,
shouldn't really be forcing the situation as much as he is.
All things.
as Davo comes, does grab another kill onto Crouton Crusader. That aggressive playstyle on that Mulan is starting to pay back as this outwash is starting to get online. Like we did say, it's going to be an early game dominance from the Mulan, but as that outwash levels up, despite the nerfs, he's still going to be good as we move into these later lanes, and that is going to be a 2-level lead in the solo lane in the favor of Davo comes, and that early lead is starting to disappear for the side of Killer Kappas. They do still have the pressure in mid lane. Natsiax has shown that he is very good on this Anubis, and the jungle gap is about maybe a quarter of a level, half of a level in the favor of Sniper Glenn. But we are going to see moving into this late game if the Cyberpunk Otters comp is just going to start to take over the Killer Kappas, and that's kind of what you were saying early on. In this mid to late game, Cyberpunk are going to start to scale very well in comparison to the Killer Kappas. If you are the Killer Kappas, what do you think is your best avenue to try and keep this lead or keep the game competitive moving into the late game?
Shut down this outwash, and then start focusing on your macros. Get these objectives. Push your lead even further. You have the early. They still won't be able to fight you too much on objectives.
As the Acorns do miss from Sniper Glenn on the solo lane, Outwatch manages to walk away with a rotation from the Neja, as Dead Dank Memes is putting damage out onto this Anubis, and Zapkiel manages to clean up the kill, and now Shrimp Warrior is in a 2v1, not really going to do anything if you're a Charon in a 2v1. Dead Dank Memes does manage to clean up, and this rotation coming out of the rat, is it going to be fruitful? Manages to grab a kill onto Davo comes, and they're looking for the Neja, they're looking for Rory Mercury. Sniper manages to grab his third kill. That is going to be 3-0 for that Ratatosker. 2 down in the mid lane for the Killer Kappas, 2 down in the solo lane for Cyberpunk Otters, and this game is even. There's about a 200 gold difference as Zapkiel's looking in this left lane for the Hachiman.
Yeah, nothing comes of that. Just forcing them under tower, letting them know who's boss. This is definitely a really, really close game here. We've got, what, like 100 gold difference? And both teams not really giving too much ground. Get a kill here. Oh, we're going to take that back on the other side. Looks like Killer Kappas grab the Gold Fury here, pick up a kill.
Okay, I'm back. I'm back. We're good. We grabbed Killer Kappas do end up grabbing that Gold Fury, and we see 2 kills go over to that side. Sniper Glenn picking up 1, and Crouton Crusader picking up the other. As Crouton is looking for a 3rd kill onto Rory Mercury, and does not manage to grab that. He does manage to get away.
And see, that's what you want to see out of the Killer Kappas. Like I said, you want to see more of their macro come out. They need these objectives to push their early.
Yeah, and they
make
managed
sure
to trade
that they lead.
a 2-for-1. Yeah, they get the 2 kills, and they get that Gold Fury, as we see Davo pushing this right lane up, going to potentially be able to grab this tier 1 on the right, as he does, and Zap and Dave are looking for a pick onto Crouton Crusader. Sniper Glenn is there for a response, a good counter rotation, as Zap is going to stay there. There looks like there is a big rotation coming into this right lane, and Dead Dank Memes picks up Sniper Glenn on this Cronus, and he is on the run from Seox, who uses the ultimate. He manages to get away. Seox grabs the kill on the Dead Dank Memes. Crouton is low, falls to Zapkio, but here comes the Anubis looking for cleanup duty. Not Seox, manages to get taken up in the ult by Rory, and that is a great job by him to peel for his team, as this Charon is doing his best to keep him there, but that's going to be a Neja getting away from a Charon not too hard, as Jacob Frost is dueling with Kalo. He does have a level advantage, but Kalo is chasing him back into tower. Like we said, in this carry lane, two very conservative carries. They're not going to take any unnecessary risks, and we've seen that. Not too much fighting going down. 0-1-0 for the Apollo, 0-0-1 for the Hachiman, and we saw a big fight go down. 2-for-1 trade in the favor of Cyberpunk Otters. Sniper Glenn and Crouton Crusader falling, while Dead Dank Memes fell for the other side. Another solid fight, and I think the next objective that both these teams are going to be looking for is going to be this Pyromancer.
Yeah, if you know, here's what I like to think about Smite game. In the early to mid game, all that matters is XP. You can be 1,000 gold ahead, but if my team all has levels on your team, that 1,000 gold doesn't mean anything. You're always gonna get more damage and more power from leveling up your abilities than you are gonna get from items.
As we see, the beads do come out on this Alpwatch to get out of the Anubis wrap. Even Devo over in the solo lane hasn't been dealing with it, but he knows that the Anubis will do some damage. And Zapkill does manage to get on to this Anubis, managed to get out, ult in, and that's going to be a kill for Rory Mercury on the side of the Cyberpunk Otters, as Crouton is using his ultimate to get in. Zapkio is trying to get out, but the Mulan manages to pick up the kill onto the jungler for Cyberpunk. Sniper Glenn also picks up a kill in the left lane onto the Apollo, and it looks like Crouton is fighting a 3v1. No matter what Shrimp does, he's not going to be able to help you in that situation. So Crouton Crusader falls, not Seox falls, but on the other side, the jungler and the carry falls with a great counter gank coming out of Sniper Glenn into that left lane. And Cyberpunk Otters are deciding now is their time to try and pull this Pyromancer. It's down at 3/4 health. The Outwatch ult does come down, and they do manage to secure that despite Shrimp's best efforts to steal that away. But his best efforts might end up with him falling, as he's being chased down by the solo mid and the support of Cyberpunk Otters. He is on no health. Rory Mercury manages to grab another kill. That will be his second of the game. A good macro call by Cyberpunk in response to Sniper Glenn going into that left lane to pick the Apollo, but you are going to see a level lead build for the side of the Killer Kappas in the carry lane, while pretty much everywhere else, support and mid, there's going to be an advantage for Cyberpunk Otters. In jungle, though, Sniper Glenn being 5-1 on this rat is 2 levels up. So that's going to be pretty big moving into this later game, having that level advantage on this Maman. Like you said, Maman really starts to shine in the later game, but having 2 levels up is pretty big for the Killer Kappas.
Yeah, definitely want to see this Maman get more active in the farm instead of these ganks. You don't really want to be caught too far behind. I mean, at this stage, her spike should be still hitting decently hard, but you definitely want more to come out of that.
Yeah, 1000%, as both teams are dancing around this Gold Fury. We're going to see a back come out of Neja, and Crouton Crusader is still in this right side jungle, as Sniper Glenn was looking for something on this Apollo. Zap quickly responds, manages to get his carry out safe, with both Sniper Glenn and Jacob Frosthope losing some health on that. And looks like Killer Kappas are settled. They're going to rotate in for this beacon and try and grab that, with no response so far coming out of the Cyberpunk Otters. Zapkio is looking for Sniper Glenn and for the Hachiman in the side, as there's going to be a fight coming out, as Zapkio is chasing, uses that ultimate down on the Ratatosker, manages to pick up Sniper Glenn. There's Crouton Crusader over there, and Hachiman. They are looking for this Maman Brigitte, but in the mid lane, Anubis is in a 1v2. Nonsiox is trying to fight off. Devo comes, does not manage to get that. The Charon ult comes down, and that is going to be a dead Hachiman. And Davo comes, picks up not Seox, and this might just be a Gold Fury call for the side of the Killer Kappas, as Crouton and Shrimp are on the run. They are hightailing it out of there, and back goes Cyberpunk looking for this Gold Fury, looking to take a bigger gold advantage. It's only 500 right now, but they're going to start pulling that. They took the left tier 1, and a successful team fight out of the Cyberpunk Otters. It looked like Killer Kappas were going to be able to pick that Maman, but they managed to keep her alive, as the Mulan is coming over looking for this Gold Fury steal, and Cyberpunk does manage to get that, and now Crouton is on the dash away. He's got 4 members in pursuit on the side of the Cyberpunk Otters, and they're going to choose to back up and let Crouton Crusader live another day. Successful team fight coming out of Cyberpunk Otters, kind of the first big win that we've seen from them so far.
Yeah, just unfortunate if you're a Killer Kappas fan here, because just like I said, you needed those macro calls in the early. You needed to extend your early game lead into the mid to late game. And now the side of Cyberpunk Otters is scaling. And they're getting their late mid game to late game items and builds online.
Not exactly what you want to see if you're on the side of Killer Kappas, but if you are, what do you need to see out of them to, I guess, kind of not negate the scaling, but to be able to win these team fights and win this game ultimately?
They're definitely playing back to front here. You've got an Alplush who doesn't have an escape. You can easily get him to pop his ult when your entire team isn't around. He's not going to be diving in with this Maman.
As we once again see Killer Kappas grab that Pyromancer, but the aggression from Crouton Crusader again is going to be punished in the solo lane, as he is hightailing it out of there. He's on the run away from this Cronus and Alpwatch, trying to get out. No response from Killer Kappas really to help him. They're going for this Neja in the middle, but you know, it's a Neja gonna manage to get away, as Crouton also manages to make the great escape away from Alpwatch and Cronus. So essentially, free Pyromancer, not anymore, as Zapkiel grabs the kill onto Shrimp X Warrior, but Sniper Glenn is looking for the response onto the Apollo in the left lane, who is going to use his ultimate and manage to get away from the onslaught of the Killer Kappas. But losing your support right there to them, as we see another fight going down. Cronus is forced into the ult. The rat is up in the air as he drops down on everybody. He's looking for this Apollo. Seox manages to grab him, and looks like Killer Kappas are looking for this, but Dead Dank Memes manages to find Sniper Glenn, as Kalo finds Dead Dank Memes in response, and Rory is on the run, falls to Seox again, and that is a one fight from the Killer Kappas after managing to take advantage of Jacob Crosso being out of position in that left side. A good job from Killer Kappas, who managed to grab the Pyromancer, and as we see the tidal wave coming through from Karen, they are looking towards this Fire Giant for the play, as there are only 2 members up for the side of Cyberpunk Otters, and they are aware that they do have the best secured in this game, and that is going to be that Outwash ult that is up currently. And in comes Maman, who also has the ult that throws it down, and Kappas are going to manage to grab the Fire Giant, and they are going to turn this, looking for the Maman, who's on the run, but Alpwash is low. Crouton needs to turn left, but he's got the entire team coming towards him, as he's looking for the kill on the Alpwash and manages to grab it. Crouton Crusader 4, 5, and 7 now on this Mulan, as the entirety of the Killer Kappas, other than Sniper Glenn, managed to grab this Fire Giant. A good macro call from them. They managed to win the team fight and go straight for Fire Giant with no hesitation, only losing their jungler. Solid plays from the Killer Kappas.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they think, I'm not sure if Cyberpunk thinks that Alplush anti-heal is good enough. I can't really tell too much, but I think Cyberpunk doesn't have a single anti-heal item built.
Yeah, and that's definitely what you were looking to see with the Anubis and the Mulan on this side. As we see, the Mulan and the Ratatoskr are eyeing Dead Dank Memes in this right lane, while the remaining members of Killer Kappas are standing on that beacon. Dead Dank Memes is going to have to pull something to get out as Rat is eyeing him. Sniper Glenn's going to try and catch up. The turnaround, and that is a lot of damage coming out of Dead Dank Memes, and he just manages to wipe Sniper Glenn off the map as Seox is going to come in and manage to pick him up. So that is going to be Seox on a killing spree, but with a little bit better team coordination, you would have managed to pick that up without losing your jungler, as the Hachiman is getting four-manned in left. He's going to have to put on a great escape, as I just don't see the anyway. He goes up onto the horse, and Aneja is going to be able to grab him once he comes down. That's just going to be a dead Hachiman in the left lane, as the TP does come over, but a little bit too late from Crouton Crusader, as Titans are starting to march. They are coming down the middle lane. Dave gets picked by that tower. 2 shots by the tower, as the Anubis is in on the Maman, fighting one-on-one as Dave's health bar is getting low. He is going to fall. Or is he not going to fall? No, Shrimp manages to grab him, and they are on the chase. Jacob Brasso manages to pick Shrimp X Warrior, as his health bar is getting depleted by this Anubis. Naziak's doing some great work, as Crouton is trying to do as much as he can, but not too much, as he lands the grab onto the Neja, and that is going to be a kill for the Killer Kappas. Well done by Crouton Crusader to land the grab. That is going to be another kill for Naziak's, who is on a rampage. That's 5 kills in a row. And here comes Sniper Glenn. He's up in the air. He wants his revenge onto this Maman, and he's going to get it. That is going to be a kill from Sniper Glenn, as Dead Dank Memes is wiping out this Chaos Titan. And they do have the Titan marching middle. It is a 5v2. Now, 20 seconds until Rory Mercury is up. But as they push this Titan down the mid lane, you have to wonder, Killer Kappas are starting to win these team fights. That's the second, third one in a row that they've won. And it might be a question of, like you said, it could be builds. It could be positioning, as we did see Dead Dank Memes get caught out earlier. But what do you think the biggest thing is, where there's a 3k gold lead right now in the favor of Killer Kappas?
0 anti-heal. All you have is this Alpwash for anti-heal right now. And I believe at maximum that's 40%. It's either 40 or 60%. You definitely need to shut down more of Anubis and Mulan healing. Otherwise, they're going to continue to just sustain and charge at you.
Yeah, and we do see the Pyromancer once again going over to the side of the Killer Kappas. That is going to be a 5k gold lead for the Kappas. And this Anubis is on a rampage. He's got 5 straight kills, managing to turn it around from 2-3 to 7-3 for Natsiaks. And that's kind of where they're playing through. Like you said, the lack of anti-heal is hurting the Cyberpunk Otters. And Killer Kappas are doing well in these team fights to get their picks, you know, pick off the Cronus early, pick off the damage dealers for the Kappas. They're managing to pick off the Cyberpunk Otters damage dealers, as we see Jacob Frosso managing to win the duel against Kalo. And we see on the other side, Crouton is looking for Dead Dank Memes again, but he's got 3 people over here, and that's Sniper with a rotation onto Apollo. And if you're Cyberpunk, you need to get a pick here. You just lost your Apollo, and Sniper Glenn is on his way over into this right lane. As we see, Cyberpunk is on the retreat, and Killer Kappas are content with just letting them go. They are looking towards this Fire Giant next is the most logical move to make, but Fury is up on the other side, so they could get a Fury for Fire Giant trade. Not exactly what you want, but it's not EFG. As Sniper Glenn has not learned from last time that you do not want to dive in on Dead Dank Memes on this Cronus, as his health bar just gets deleted.
That is a late game Kronos right there. He is going to hurt a lot.
Yeah, and we saw Sniper try earlier and tried to catch him off guard again as Crouton does land the grab onto Devo comes. And that is a lot of damage going down onto your Outpwatch, who is, just going to walk over some bodies and heal right back up. So not really too much as Hachiman is taking this Maman 1v1 in the back, manages to get the kill if you're Zapkio, who instantly falls to the Mulan right after. If you're Killer Kappas, you cannot let Zapkio get in on this Mulan right onto your backline, and Devo comes is forced to back as we see instead of the Contagion coming in for his last item, he's going to opt for the Spectral Armor to cancel out this Hachiman's crit, as Killer Kappas do end up grabbing the Fire Giant once again. Still not EFG, as Rat is up in the air. The Mulan ult does come down, and that's a dead Apollo, as Natsiax manages to pick up his 8th kill of the game. Sniper Glenn is looking for this Outpotch, who does throw down the body, managed to kill a little bit, but the Rat is on the hunt, and this Neja is just going to die to... Who's going to get it is going to be the Anubis, as Natsiax grabs his 9th, and Sniper Glenn managed to pick up his 8th onto the Outpwatch, as the Cronus is pushing down this left lane. The split push coming out from Cyberpunk Otters managed to grab this left Phoenix. That's a good consolation prize, but now you've got only your Maman back to try and defend this Phoenix assault on the side of Kappas, and it looks like the Killer Kappas might be going for the end because Cronus is not going to be able to back. The Hachiman will not let her, and that is just going to be the end of the game. If you're on the side of the Killer Kappas, wonderful macro calls like you said, and as we cross this 30-minute mark, that is going to be Killer Kappas 1-0 lead in this series. They are fighting to keep themselves in this playoff race, and that is a great way to start a victory over these Cyberpunk Otters in this first game. What did you think was the biggest difference in the game?
No anti-heal. Once they moved into no anti-heal. You cannot go into a game with Anubis, Mulan, and not build anti-heal.
Yeah, so that that is going to be the end of the first game, and if we're looking at the bans, you might want to ban Seox's Anubis. He's played 2 games on it, and he's 26-6 on the Anubis. So I think that it might be time to look at a ban and maybe get Sniper off of this Ratatasker once again. As we finish up this game 1, moving into game 2, we will see if the Cyberpunk Otters can find a response and send it to a game 3, or if the Killer Kappas will manage to keep themselves in the playoff race with a 2-0 sweep. And we will be right back for that game. All right, guys, we are back with game 2 of the set. Killer Kappas versus Cyberpunk Otters. We saw Killer Kappas take game 1 with a pretty back and forth game. They managed to snowball that pretty soon with a little controversy mixed in. I'm your chair 1, T Pity, and we have chair 2, one of the top junglers in the Walker division. It's ISO coming at you, and we got Wolfie Pup on the production. How do we feel about no anti-heal in that game 1, ISO?
Oh my gosh. I'm feeling some type of way about it. But I would like to see maybe some come out if they're choosing not to ban the anti-heal gods.
Yeah,
Or the
and
heal gods.
we do see the bans coming in from both sides. The first 3, Awilix, Donzaburo, and Raijin, same bans on the side of the Killer Kappas. While on the side of the Cyberpunk Otters, we have one change. They banned Athena and Ganesha once again, but they also banned the Maman, who Zapkio had a decent game on the first time around. We see the instant lock-in of the Anubis from Natsiax. He is not playing. He wants that Anubis again. He went 10-3 on it last game, so that's a good pickup for him. And the response from the other side is going to be Chernobog and Pele, who I don't believe we've seen either of these gods used by the Cyberpunk Otters yet this season. So gonna see some new stuff coming out. I know Zapkio can definitely play the Pele. He's very aggressive. That's kind of how aggressive And that's just kind of an aggressive jungler to play. High kills. That's who we saw the god whenever the kill record was set for this season. So, what do you think about the first three picks so far?
I like it. They definitely forwent the Chernobog ban and picked him up. Then we see this on
Yes.
her picked into the Chernobog. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, we did see Kalo play this on her earlier in the season. He played very well on it. I think it was 5-0-2 on it earlier in the season. Um, while playing the on her into the Chernobog is interesting. I mean, obviously, early on, the on her is going to have that pressure. He's going to have that box ability, but Chernobog's Chernobog. He's going to be able to do what Chernobog does, and he's going to scale into that late game very well. As we see once again, the Ratatosker locked in for Sniper Glenn. Um, the two picks that we said was the problem in the first game are the two picks that they picked up once again, the Anubis and the Ratatosker. But we do see Pineapple TV is back in for the Killer Kappas, so that is going to be a switch up in the support role as we see the Soul locked in on the side for the Cyberpunk Otters. Is that going to be a mid lane Soul?
I think it is, and I don't know how I feel about that one either. Personally, I don't really like mid lane soul.
Mid
Super
lane
easy to
Soul
catch
playing
out.
into Anubis. Yeah. Soul into Anubis, and then we've got the Chernobog into the Onher, Pele, Ratatosker. I know you being a jungler. Talk to me about this Pele versus Ratatosker matchup.
That's gonna be really interesting to see because they both have decent early game. They both scale really well. It's whoever can rotate the fastest, and usually it's going to be a Pele because she has that speed ability.
And we do see we're going to see two very aggressive junglers on both sides playing with two very aggressive jungle picks. As we do see a ban come in from the Cyberpunk Otters, they said they want no part to do with Crouton Crusaders Mulan in the next game. We saw how good he was grabbing all of those bow pulls, I guess. And on the other side, they're going to ban out the Charon. So that's going to be three support bands coming in as we see the fourth, a Yamoja band coming in from Cyberpunk Otters. Yamoja, not a god you see too much use in this league. Most supports like to stick with the Ganesha, the Charon, the Athena, um, Anasia that we saw last game. But the final ban on the side of Killer Kappas is going to be that Alpwatch. So they don't want Dave to be on that Alpwatch once again. They thought it was a real issue. So we're looking towards the support role who they pick up Geb for Rory and Scylla is an instant lock in. Or is it's a hover for Crouton and he's going to lock that in. Is that going to be a Scylla going into the solo lane?
I think that's a Scylla mid lane. Sox is giving up the Anubis for solo.
Interesting, interesting. I don't know if I would see Sox giving up his Anubis, but we see the Kuzenbo locked in for support. I know Crouton does play Scylla, so I'm interested to see where the Scylla goes. Um, as we see a Surtur locked in on the other side, a lot of unconventional picks coming in. You have your meta, you have Chernobog on her, a Pele, Ratatosker, but then you've got Anubis, Scylla, Kuzenbo, all very good gods, but not too much that you see played even in this league. And on the other side, we see a Soul who's not going to be playing in the carry role, and a Surtur who is most likely going to be going towards the solo lane. And if this Scylla is going to be the one in the solo lane and not the Anubis, which I guess we're going to see as these swaps come in, what are you kind of looking? Actually, let's wait until these swaps come in first, as we see
I'm really hoping that it's not a Scylla solo. I'm not gonna lie.
it is a Scylla solo, and it's a Chernobog going in mid. Okay,
Hey, I like
okay.
that a little. I like that a little bit more than the soul mid.
So we've got on her into Soul. We have Scylla into Surtur, and Anubis into Chernobog. Not a not a matchups that you hear too often. Anubis into Chernobog in the solo and Surtur into Scylla in the or wait, switch that around. Surtur into Scylla in the solo, Anubis into Chernobog mid. So seeing how these two comps are kind of lining up, who are you liking? What are you kind of looking forward? What matchups?
Um, I I actually know. I'm really excited to see this jungle matchup, but I don't think I can give a prediction for this game.
You think I'm gonna let you off that easy, buddy? I'm gonna need a prediction right now. I'm gonna put you on the spot. We know where these picks are going, and I want you to tell me who and why.
Let's see. I'm gonna I'm gonna have to go with I'm gonna have to go with Cyberpunk Otters this game.
Cyberpunk Otters and
Tox is on that Anubis again, so as long as we see some anti-heal come out from Cyberpunk Otters this game, I'm sure they can clutch up.
oh yeah, I we hope so. And as we move into this match, I think an exciting thing, like you said, is going to be uh, the the Pele into Ratatoskr matchup. I think that the aggression from both junglers are really going to shine because in the last game we saw that aggression show out, and we saw that Zapkiel kind of he fell behind a little bit in the farm, and I think that that might have been what led to the jungle gap kind of getting a little bit bigger. So in this game too, are you looking for a little more farm coming out of this Pele, or are you looking for just kind of the same things to be happening?
I'm looking for decent farm to be coming out of this Pele, but I really want to see her put lanes behind. Because that's what you're really looking for when you pick Pele. You want your teammates to be a level or two ahead of their counterpart. So then you can farm in the mid game and come back and start wailing on people in the late game.
Yeah, and coming out of this solo lane matchup, you know, the Scylla versus the Surtur. What
Uh, I'm
what
expecting
what
Surtur to walk over the Scylla. I'm not gonna lie. If Surtur just doesn't run at the Scylla, I'm gonna be actually shocked.
y- yeah, I don't exactly understand, but if it's a god that Crouton Crusader is comfortable on, that's kind of all that you can hope for. And in this division, comfort does mean so much, but you gotta question question the Scylla into a Surtur. That's I don't really know exactly what to say um, about that in specifics, as we do see a pause coming in. Um, that means I can ask you about the other matchup, Chernobog Anubis. What do you bring out of getting a Chernobog into this mid lane?
You gain global pressure. You know, hey, I'm just gonna go over here into the. I'm gonna ult to the duo or the solo lane. We're gonna grab a kill, and I'm head back. Is that cool? Bye.
Yeah, and on the side of the Cyberpunk Otters, we see, a little unconventional, and Killer Kappas responded with a little bit of some unconventional in their own. So we've got a carry god that's playing in the mid lane. We have a mid lane god that's been moved to the solo lane, which we kind of see a little bit more often, but just not Scylla. Um,
Is
in the
this the
scaling
first time?
aspect,
Is this the first
it
time we've seen the Killer Kappas actually play the Kappa?
I think so. Honestly, I think this might have been their first game playing the Kuzin Bow and throwing him in, which would be a great game to play him because that's it is the game that they are playing to avoid elimination and throwing, your team logo in there to get yourself a win is not too bad. Uh, in the scaling aspect, I know we've got Soul, we've got On Her, who are two very good early game gods. We've got Pele and Rat, who are good early to mid gods who do scale decently well. We've got the Anubis and Chernobog. Chernobog traditionally a more late game god. Anubis, he's kind of good all the way through. Um, he does scale very well late game. That damage does start being real. But Scylla vs Surtur is an interesting scaling matchup. You would like to think that moving into the late game, the Killer Kappas would be better off, but you know, Surtur can do Surtur things. And looking at these builds, do you see anything like that kind of stands out to you, or any distinctions?
Um, it all looks pretty standard. Right now, I'm looking at this Scylla and Surtur matchup because honestly, I don't know what Scylla is going to do.
Yeah, I mean, looks like he did grab that dash for the second ability, but if you are the Silly, you kind of just have to sit under tower and wait until your real damage starts getting online. As we see the health potion already used, the pressure coming out from this Soul and Geb duo lane, kind of what we expected. As good of an early game god as On Her is, Soul just kind of just does Soul things. Soul pretty much beats every single laner except for Izanami, and even that still is pretty close.
Now on
But
the
as we
Soul,
see,
I
go ahead.
I honestly prefer seeing Death Toll over Gilded Arrow, and I'll give my reasoning behind that. Once you move into that mid game, you want your 1v1.
Speaking of, as we see Kalo jumping in there looking for this soul, not really managing to put too much damage on. Sniper Glen goes and grabs that shield buff and comes over for an early gank onto this duo lane, trying to relieve some pressure as we see the Pele in opposition go over into that right lane to put some pressure onto the Scylla, even though Surtur does already kind of have all the pressure. As Seax is looking for Dead Dank memes once again, letting the wave just kind of hit itself and let it die out. Lose some farm out if you're on the side of Dead Dank memes on this Cronus, but Sox once again showing some aggression on this Anubis as he misses the grab, and that might have been first blood if he had been able to get that. We see Pele on these right mids, Ratatosker back there looking for the totem as Seax is putting the pressure on, and here comes Ratatosker over into this right side looking for the blue buff as Pele is looking for an Anubis to blink in, manages to get a grab, and lots of damage coming out onto Zakiel, who has to use the or not the beads, but manages to get out with his life. Very, very good from Natsiax to avoid that gank. And the pressure once again is coming out of this mid lane for the Killer Kappa. Siax managing to do a great job. As he does, once again, use that ult, put a lot of damage out onto the Anubis, who has to go up into the air in order to stay alive. But is he just going to come back down, or is he going to look for something? He goes over onto the On Her, and they were not expecting him as he dashes in and out. And the first blood manages to go over to the Cyberpunk Otters. Devo comes on the Surtur, manages to pick up Crouton Crusader, even though Dave did get some damage done to him. And that is an extremely low health bar. Zafkiel manages to pick up Seox, and Sniper then responds directly with a kill onto Zafkiel. Good 2 for 1. The solo lane's kind of going exactly how we expected. Crouton forced to use that TP in order to get back into lane, but early kill for the Surtur. Not too big of a deal if you're Scylla. I mean, obviously nobody ever wants to die, but early game Scylla isn't known for her survivability exactly. So solid plays from both sides, and good response from the Pele to put some pressure onto this mid lane of the Killer Kappas.
But going into what I was saying earlier, when you're Soul, you want that sustain because your fire pit heals you based on health loss. You couple that with Death's Toll, and you just stay out in lane forever. And you want that
this is
going into
staying.
the mid game, especially against an On Her who is just going to melt you down over and over.
Yeah, solid plays, and it is questionable, but the Gilded Arrow just does allow for more damage in the late game as we see Surtur getting up on top of this Scylla once again. This is exactly what you have to see. With a little switch up from the first matchup, we see Surtur, a warrior versus a mage, but in the last game it was Crouton on the warrior and Dave on the mage as Jacob tries to contest this shield camp and Sniper Glenn is like, what are you doing? They're just going to pick up this free kill onto the soul as Dead Dank Memes manages to grab Natsiax in that mid lane. The Anubis kind of showing its lack of escapability, but if you're Killer Kappas, you're going to go grab that purple buff from the Cyberpunk Otters. Just kind of a questionable play out of the Soul to go and challenge the Ratatosker when you still have that whole duo lane there and your support is not there. But a good response from the Dank Memes and are able to grab that Anubis, and it looks like the plan for Cyberpunk is clear. They want to keep this Anubis down. They don't want Seox to get in the same position that he was in last game where he's just able to free cast those abilities, do a lot of damage, and it's going well so far. The Pele's managed to grab a kill on him, and so has the Chernobog, as Seox is just showing Dead Dank Memes that he can just keep hitting those grabs over and over again. But in response, if you are Sniper Glenn on this Ratatosker, what are you kind of wanting to see? What lane are you kind of wanting to pressure?
I want to keep that Surtur from getting too big because once he starts rotating into your mid lane, then your Anubis is gonna start to really get behind, and everything's gonna collapse from there. They really need to play through this Anubis, but the best way to do that is to stop Surtur from getting too big.
As we see Geb coming in on the roll, gives Seox a nice little bump to get him away from that lane. And Surtur is ulting down, looking for Crouton Crusader, who is on the run, and he's trying to get away as Zapkio is in pursuit. The Chernobog does come over. That's going to be a 3-man rotation into the solo lane to kill this Scylla. And if you are Killer Kappas, you might want to look to try and make a play, but they did it at the perfect time as Sniper Glenn had just backed, not able to get anything as this Chernobog does come back over towards this mid lane. And once again, another kill onto the Scylla. That's going to make it 4-2 in the favor of Cyberpunk Otters so far in this game. Good rotations, and it looks like they are listening to your plan, just the wrong side. They're focusing on keeping this Scylla down as Sniper Glenn was looking for a rotation into this left side, looking for this soul as the Surtur is pretty low. He chose to stay in lane, and that might be a mistake as the Scylla damage is real, and this could just be a dead Surtur as he misses his stun a little bit too short, uses the dash, and that is going to be a dead Surtur. Well done by Crouton Crusader managing to get the solo kill. Questionable from Devo comes on staying in lane, but this Pele is coming over, looking for the on her. He uses his dash to get away, uses the ultimate to put some damage out, but that's just going to be a dead Kalo on the on her. A quick gank by Zakiel, and he has shown some comfort on this Pele. He is 3-1 so far in 8 minutes, and looking
So we
like that
haven't
Pele is
even
going to be able to scale.
we haven't even discussed the best part. Look at that. Zap already got the anti-heal down.
Yep, he definitely remembered that that's something that you're supposed to do when you're playing against an Anubis. But both teams are just kind of going back to farming as we see more fighting going down in this right lane. Scylla's health bar did go down quite a bit as Devo looks like so far he's been coming out on top of this solo lane, and we see Sakiel just lurking, dangerously lurking in this mid lane. They definitely know that he's there. They're definitely aware as we see a lot of ward coverage coming out of this mid lane from the side of Cyberpunk Otters. And they're doing a great job. Last game they didn't exactly have the best ward coverage, but as we see in this solo lane, Scylla does have a level advantage now. But out of mana. Dave still has all the pressure coming out, and you you haven't really seen a rotation into the solo lane from Sniper Glenn on this Ratatosker. So far, the Pele has been much more active, and we can see there is a 2-level lead in the jungle so far, as it's looking like this is going to be part 3 of Pluton getting ganked again, as Zapkiel was waiting at the end of his dash, and Sniper Glenn is up in the air, and he's going to look for this Pele, who just manages to get away the Surtur, as Dead Dank Memes does use the ultimate to get in, and here comes the Geb. There's 4 people on this right side for the Cyberpunk Otters looking for Sniper Glenn, and that is just going to be a dead Ratatosker, as Kuzenbo and Anubis are rotating over. They are kind of late, but they're going to look for this pick onto Zepkyo as the Geb comes and takes the tower. The TP is coming in from Sipla, but it might just be too little too late. As the ult comes down, that's going to be a kill for Crouton and a kill for Seox onto the jungler and the support of Cyberpunk Otters. The peel exactly did not work thanks to the TP coming in, and the 4-man rotation just kind of allowed the Killer Kappas to get 2 back. It kind of just ruined that play. You grabbed 2 for nothing and managed to make it a 2-for-2 trade. How are you feeling about that? Who kind of came out on top?
Killer Kappas definitely came out on top because Scylla got the kill on Pele there. Pele had a huge bounty on her, and that put Scylla ahead of Surtur.
As we can see, Scylla looking in this right lane, looking for another kill. As they're rotating for this Gold Fury, Killer Kappa's wanted. They've got 4 guys on it, and Cyberpunk Otters are aware. They are coming over. We got Chernobog, Geb, and Soul as Pele is making her way over a little late. They're still on this Gold Fury. Who's going to manage to grab it? Cyberpunk Otters managed to grab the Gold Fury, and that is unfortunate if you are the Killer Kappas. Geb comes in with a phenomenal play, and Pineapple falls to Zakiel, and it looked like Seox will be following suit pretty soon. Down goes Zakiel. That's going to be a double kill onto the Pele, who is 7-2 in 12 minutes, and he does have anti-heal.
He does have anti-heal.
We might attribute this victory to the anti-heal, as Killer Kappas are just looking to regroup. Scylla kind of running this solo lane over here, as the first beacon is going to go the way of the Cyberpunk Otters, who, after that beacon, are kind of starting to balloon this. It is going to be a 4,000 gold lead in the favor of the Cyberpunk Otters, who just made that 5,000 by grabbing that mid-tier 1. And if you're the Kappas, you kind of just want to start seeing them play through this Surtur a little bit more, as he is up in the air. Crouton Crusader seeing the support coming over again, and Cyberpunk are showing their intentions once again. They want this Scylla, and I'm gonna guess as soon as she leaves tower line that this Geb is going to go jump on her. As you see the Pele coming over as well, there are going to be 3 people in this right lane looking for Crouton Crusader once again, as the Surtur manages to stun. Chernobog is up in the air, and he is going to ult in on the Scylla, and that's 4-man rotation onto Crouton Crusader once again, who's going to dash. He's going to try and get away. That is going to be a kill for his Vacuole, and that's going to be a killing spree. The right T1 falls for Cyberpunk Otters, and you got to feel bad for Crouton Crusader at some point, man. He is just getting bullied in this right lane over and over again. He's not allowed to play one-on-one. As Brad is up in the air looking for the soul on the left side, we see Sniper Glenn jump down. There is a chase on, the ult comes down, but the disapparate is great from Jacob Rousseau, and that is going to be a living soul as Seox gets picked off by Dead Dank Memes. On her, gets hit with the soul ultimate, and that's going to be a pyro and 2 kills for the side of the Cyberpunk Otters, as they're looking like they're running out of this game. A 6k gold lead at 14 minutes, make that 7,000, and Killer Kappas couldn't even get a good response. They used 2 ultimates and could not get the soul. That is a huge win for the Cyberpunk Otters.
Yeah, see, as a jungler myself, I see a Scylla over in the solo lane, and I'm thinking, yes, I am going to bully you. There's just no reason for Scylla to be over there.
So you're saying it's a deserved bullying?
It's a deserved bullying.
Yeah, we see Soul stepping up on this left side We might see Sniper Glenn go over to try and pick. He does not really have any mana. He's going to opt to just back and leave this soul be, but Anubis might not. And we see two people over in this solo lane, the Kuzumbo and the Scylla, once again looking for Dave, but the miss on the ability from Scylla is going to allow Dave to walk out of there as Kalo is 3 levels down. I'm not sure if you want to take this fight. And there is Zapkio again with another gank, and that is just going to be a dead on her. Zapkio manages to get his 9th kill of the game in 15 minutes, and it's not looking great if you're the side of the Killer Kappas. You kind of just need to farm and not be taking fights. We see a 3-level gap in the jungle, 1-level gap in the mid lane, and 3-level gap in the carry lane. As Zapkio is once again looking for Anubis, and this is just like clockwork. Zapkio grabs a rampage. He grabs his 10th kill of the game, and this might be premature, but we might see a new kill record be set in this game as Zapkio is showing some extreme aggression on this Pele. Same god, new kill record. We will see if he can do that as we see Scylla and Kuzumbo looking for Chernobog in this mid lane, and Dead Date Me manages to dash into the wall to avoid the Scylla ult. Well done by DDM to get out of that, and we see Cyberpunk Otters on this left side. They want a Gold Fury. Killer Kappas are aware they have 4 people coming over, and this might just be a trade of 2 lives for a Gold Fury. Down goes Rory Mercury, and Jacob Frosthope is on the run. Crouton Crusader hot in pursuit, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to grab him before Zach comes over here looking for the support for his ADC, trying to get him out of here. Surtur is there, Chernobog is on his way, and this is going to be a team fight over here. We have 4 members of each team as Anubis is on his way over, and they're just both dancing over this purple buff as Killer Kappas do manage to grab that, and both teams will end up backing off. Pretty action-packed game so far. We only saw I think 18 kills from both sides last game, and we're already at 13-6 after 16 minutes. What do you think has been the key so far for Cyberpunk getting this huge lead?
This Pele, 100%. This Pele has been active everywhere, really showing them why they should ban Pele. Just absolutely destroying everything that Killer Kappas wanted to do this game.
And as we see in the right lane, we see Pele coming over for the Scylla once again, and this might just be another dead Crouton Crusader as Zakio is looking for a kill, but I think Crouton has figured out that he's just going to go deep every single time and just wait.
You hate to see the Scylla ult miss, or the Pele ult miss, but it looks like we've got Scylla going down here. Rat may be going down here. We've got Anubis ulting over in the back. Got fights on all the levels. Surtur's going to run at this Anubis here on her. Picking him up, slowing him down. And it looks like Pele is going to get out.
Alright, I am back again, and we see Pele and Surtur both pick up a kill as Nasiak has been found out once again in this left jungle. You see some low health bars on the side of Cyberpunk Otters as they're starting to retreat, but this Anubis' health bar is dropping Jacob Frost Soap once more, and he's going to finally decide to back off. And they're going to back off towards these oracles, and 2 more kills go the side of the Cyberpunk Otters. Killer Kappas are just kind of getting run over in this game, and it's all mainly due to the Pele, like you said. It's just the Anubis hasn't really had a chance to do anything so far.
Nope.
Zakio doing a great job of managing to keep these 2 mages in the mid and the side lane down and not really have a chance to do anything as Cyberpunk are on this Pyromancer. You managed to get it stolen away by the Killer Kappas. Sniper Glenn doing a great job. Does fall to Zakio, but manages to grab that Pyromancer as Scylla is dueling with this Chernobog in the right lane. Chernobog manages to back up. Scylla misses the ability, and Dave is in the air. Dave is looking for a small Chucky looking bee as Crouton Crusader manages to dash right out and is on the run away. They both stun each other, but Crouton Crusader with a good escape from the 2v1 as here come the Killer Kappas. Here come those boys as the Chernobog's health bar is looking like it might just be deleted as this Anubis and the Scylla are on it. That's an Anubis ult, manages to take out Dead Dank Memes. Scylla is chasing this Geb who is just going to roll away. They see him rolling and he is out. And that is finally, we see a one team fight from the Killer Kappas. They managed to grab the Pyromancer, which lessens this gold lead to 5,000, and they are deciding that they want more. They want the Fire Giant. This objective has been started. Here comes Scylla. Cyberpunk Otters are very aware, and if you are the Killer Kappas, you need to watch out for this Pele. He is hunting around the back. It might be, as Pele does come in, but it looks like Cyberpunk Otters managed to steal it. I think it was the Geb who managed to grab it, and they all back up. And that just kind of sums up this game for the Killer Kappas. It's just been unfortunate event after unfortunate event, and now your Kuzumbo is getting chased as the Soul is pushing the left lane up with a split push. Scylla backs to respond, but he manages to grab that Phoenix anyway. Rat comes down looking for the Soul, who uses Disapparate to get away, but there is this fight going on in the mid lane as Dead Dank Memes. Oh, this is just people falling back and forth. That's going to be 3 kills going over to Cyberpunk Otters. That kill grabs one. Jacob Crossover grabs one. Dead Dank Memes grabs one. And that's going to be Sniper Glenn, Seox, and Halo down. That's all the damage other than Crouton down for the Cyberpunk. But Crouton may be joining them on the gray screen pretty soon as that damage is coming in. And Cyberpunk want this mid Phoenix. They want to take 2 birds down before 22 minutes. They also want the life of this Scylla. Kuzumbo doing everything that he can. And Scylla does manage to get away as all the members come up, but that's 2 Phoenixes down in 21 minutes. Have we seen that this season?
No, we probably have in the shortest game. I think the shortest game was 23 minutes long. So we probably seen some Phoenixes fall before that. But this is definitely going the wrong way for Killer Kappas.
Cyberpunk grabbed that Gold Fury, and they still have Fire Giant up on 4 members. You're down 13,000, 12,000 gold. If you're the Killer Kappas, what can you do really to start, I guess, kind of eating into this gap as they have Oni waves marching down the lanes?
Definitely take from your team name and logo, turtle up. You've got to use your defense and hope for a few bad fights that Cyberpunk takes.
Yeah, and this game has just kind of
Anubis out here, and we need to see Cyberpunk dive and Kuzumbo and Anubis annihilate whoever dives.
Yeah, so just a little bit of farming, a little bit of staying in base, trying to keep this right side up as Crouton Crusader is getting chased once again. Here comes Pele as they're going to solo this Pyromancer, and he does manage to stun the Pele and get out. That's going to be a Cyberpunk Pyromancer, and it looks like they want to take this fight. Pele Blink is down, and he's looking for a kill onto this Anubis. He grabs a Divine, and he's 14-2. Vakio looks for that. Dave grabs the kill, and this looks like it might just be the end of the game. They're pushing. They have Chernobog on their tower, or on their Titan. Vakio grabs another kill onto the Scylla, and Chernobog is just ending the game as Sniper Glenn is coming back as fast as he can. Is he going to manage to grab the kill onto the Chernobog? He might, but it does not look like it. Vakio is there. He pushes him off, and that is just going to be this game 2 as Dave picks up a final kill onto Pineapple TV. That will be the end of this game 2. Cyberpunk manages to send it to game 3 with a dominant performance over the Killer Kappas. And before I ask, the difference was really Pele. But what was the difference? What was the difference for you?
Anti-heal. They got anti-heal this time. No, definitely the rotations coming out of Pele. And Yeah, that was the difference.
Yeah.
The
The
rotations coming
aggression
out of
and the
Pele.
rotations from Pele were not really matched in the jungle by Sniper Glenn. And you do have to wonder when Sniper Glenn goes back to his real team if they're going to look at him with shame for that performance he just put up. But that's going to be our game two. Cyberpunk Otters managed to grab it and send it to a game three. We will be back to see who will finish this playoff race matchup in a few minutes. All right, everybody. Here we are back again for game three of this Cyberpunk Otters versus Killer Kappas set. Game one, we saw a back and forth game that Killer Kappas ended up coming out on top of in about 30 minutes. While in game two, we saw Cyberpunk Otters absolutely steamroll behind the 15-2 effort from Zapkiel on the Pele and win in about 24-25 minutes. So, game three, we will see how this goes. Cyberpunk Otters decided to take first pick. They end up banning the Ganesha and the Maman, while Killer Kappa's first two bans are going to go towards the Awilix and the Raijin once again. So we see the Athena ban was taken out of Cyberpunk Otters' first three bans, and we'll see how that moves forward into this game three. I'm T Pity One once again here with one of the best junglers in the Walker division. It's ISO as my chair too, and we have Wolfie on production. How are we feeling moving into this game three, ISO?
I'm I'm feeling pretty good right now. Killer Kappas need to win this game to secure their seat in the playoffs. So we're gonna see how it plays out. We're seeing this Anubis band come out of the Cyberpunk Otters. They're like, okay, play something else.
Yeah, they decide they do not want to play that Anubis again, and kind of exactly what we thought we would see the Pele band coming out from the Killer Kappas, and they lock in Athena for the first pick on the side of the Cyberpunk Otters.
She
Athena,
copped
a
a
good
minor
god,
nerf.
global. Yeah, she did get the nerf to her ultimate and caught a little bit of nerf to the damage mitigation she receives from her dash. But a good global ult, and Killer Cap has decided to respond with the Chernobog, who also has a global presence. So global for global going with those first two picks, and we will see what they decide. In that support, they're gonna go for the Geb, who was on the side of Cyberpunk last game. Very annoying god to play against, very good god to play. And the Chernobog Geb combo is pretty good. Geb does bring a little bit of that pressure early on that Chernobog lacks in a way, but we will see as the Donza Burrow and Cronus are locked in on the side of Cyberpunk Otters. Donza Burrow, Jacob Frost has looked great on this god this season. He's played Danza 4 or 5 times, and he averages a KDA of around 2.5 when he does use this god. And we do see the Cronus once again coming in the mid lane for Dead Dank memes. Uh, so seeing this duo lane already, I'm gonna ignore the Morgan Le Fay for a second. Danza and Athena versus Chernobog and Geb. Who are you liking at what stages in the game?
I like Cyberpunk Otters throughout all the stages. Donza wins the 1v1 against Cherno. He's gonna have to either ult out or stay up in the air and fall back down into a Donza. Athena into Geb. Geb can cleanse Athena's taunts off somebody, but Athena also can just stop Geb from doing anything, rolling out and everything. So I'm not sure how it's gonna play out here for the Killer Kappas.
Yeah, and we may see the Geb opt to stay in that dual lane for a little bit longer just to help the Chernobog kind of get out. You did say, the 1v1 is going to be tough for that Cherno, so we might see the Geb stay in the dual lane a little bit longer. But we do see the Morgan Le Fay locked in third, and that could go towards the solo or the mid lane. We did see a mage solo come out of Crouton Crusader last game. It didn't look too comfortable on that Scylla. Kind of got ganked to hell. But as we move forward into these bans, we see Wukong and Alpwash as the two bans for the side of the Killer Kappas, targeting Devo comes once again with those bans, getting rid of that Raijin that he is so good on. And the Cyberpunk Otters respond once again with a Mulan ban. It looks like they assume that the Morgan Le Fay will be going towards the mid lane and not towards the solo lane. Or maybe they're just saying we're not scared of Crouton on a mage in the solo lane. They just got nerfed, so kind of rough for
Now,
them. And we see the Ratatoskr decide to be banned out from the jungle, not letting Sniper Glenn play that once again. And looking at
this
those
is my
bans,
personal opinion. I would have banned the Thanatos over the Rat here because based on Sniper's performance last game, you know he's going to want to show out. He's going to pick his main, and we're probably going to see a Thanatos pick here.
yeah, if we see that Thanatos come into the jungle, that is a pick where Sniper Glenn is very comfortable on. He did drop I believe it was a 34 kill game on the Thanatos, not this season, but previously to that. So we might see a pretty big Thanatos game here from Sniper Glenn, like you said. Gonna want to show out. Had a abysmal performance, if I do say so myself, in game two. And just kidding, Sniper, I love you. But as we see the Tsukuyomi going to be locked in, but I will say, I think that's going towards the solo lane. Crouton Crusader is a Tsukuyomi stan. He loves him some Tsukuyomi in the solo lane. And we see the insta lock from for Devo in that solo is going to be the Surtur in response. They like the way that that worked, but no Pele to sit on your lane opponent. So we'll see how that goes moving forward. We'll see what both junglers opt to go for into this. Who are you kind of looking at as a jungler? I know you said Thanatos for sniper, but on the other side for Zakio, who are you kind of looking for?
I'm looking for Bastet Daji, somebody who's going to provide nice speeds pull and tick damage. Tick damage is very important if you're going to be going into somebody like a Thanatos or a Thor or somebody who goes up into the air because that tick damage will follow them and has the potential to kill them. And they hear me and go Bastet.
They lock in that Bastet for Zakiel, who we have not seen him on this Bastet yet this season. So we got a new god coming in there, but a lot of comfort picks coming out for the side of the Cyberpunk Otters. We have seen how comfortable Dave is on this Surtur. We've seen how comfortable Jacob is on this Danzaburo, and we have seen, it's not really hard to be comfortable on the Athena. She's very much a a good support to lock in. And like you said, the Thanatos will be coming out of Sniper Glen, and we are going to see a very aggressive game coming out of the jungle of the Killer Kappas. On the
Now, I
side of the Cyberpunk Otters, he does have that Bastet, like you said, and these gods aren't the easiest to gank. All of them really have escapability on the side of the Cyberpunk Otters. What, just based on the comps you see right now, who are you liking for this game three, and who do you like for this playoff race matchup?
I'm liking Cyberpunk Otter side again, but I'm a little worried about the solo matchup. Davo in the Surtur versus that Tsukiyomi, that's not going to be fun going into that. But the Bastet definitely puts some damage down on that Chernopog. You got that tick damage flying through the air. You've got that tick damage on the Thanatos when he goes up. You've got some serious problems going on for Killer Kappas over in the duo lane. You got that double taunt from Danzaburo and Athena that you've got to watch out for. I'm definitely favoring Cyberpunk Otters again this game.
Yeah, so we see three games go up, three Cyberpunk Otters predictions from my from my boy ISO. Um, I think personally, I'm excited to see this Thanatos come out in the jungle for Killer Kappas. Even as his teammate, I have not seen a Sniper Glen Thanatos game. So
He's always
I'm
banned. That's
excited to
why.
see this. Yeah, he is always banned pretty much universally in the top 3 against him. So we will see how this pops, how he can pop out on the Thanatos. You said he's going to want to show out, and I think we'll see a lot of early aggression, kind of in the way that Zapkiel did last game. So we'll see if he can match that, and we will see how they kind of favor these lanes so far. Um, Sniper Glenn has kind of favored the ganks towards the duo lane. While Zapkiel has kind of sat on that solo side and made sure that Dave can get ahead and have a good game. So we will see how these two teams match up. And what are you looking forward to the most in this jungle matchup?
I'm looking for Bastet pulls into the jungle. That's all. I love to see a good Bastet pull somebody screaming for mercy out of their tower into the jungle.
Yeah, and as we see a little group up over here in between the 3 camps from the Cyberpunk Otters, I'm excited for this game 3. We have Killer Kappas playing for their playoff lives, and Cyberpunk Otters playing for that #1 seed. If they win this week, and Bodega Hive falls to the Calder's Good Boys on Sunday, then Cyberpunk Otters will have a good chance of grabbing that #1 seed, just depending on how the games go for the Bodega Hive. And I'm excited. It's always good to see how a team deals whenever their backs are against the wall, and
Actually, I
Killer
think
Kappas' backs are against the wall.
I think the current state, Cyberpunk Otters can't grab that #1 seed.
Really?
Yeah, I
Well,
think it.
that's for Frank to figure out and for us to just talk about. um, but looking into some early pressure across the 3 lanes, where are you looking for the early pressure to come from?
I definitely want to see lots of ganks from both sides going over into that duo lane. I think that's where the game's going to be decided. This
In the
matchup.
duo lane, who we've kind of seen both teams shy away from that duo lane. Sniper has gone over there for the side of Killer Kappas, but both teams have kind of just let their duo lane do what they do, get to that late game. You know, Jacob Frost kind of making more of an impact in game 2, while Kalo made more of an impact in that game 1. But early on, we already see some poke coming out from both sides as Dave is low, and Crouton might just grab his first kill onto the Surtur. Surtur does manage to get away, but Davo comes on some low health, and he better be glad that Thanatos is not level 5 yet, or I can already hear the scream, and Thanatos comes down from the ult, and that is a dead Surtur on the execute. But good pressure early on from Crouton Crusader, like you said, making this Surtur's life not fun in this solo lane, who once again, his health bar is low in this right side, and he is having to just sit under tower. Crouton Crusader doing a great job of keeping Dave underneath his tower, and all the other lanes are just kind of doing their thing as we see an early Bastet gank coming into the left side while Thanatos is making his way onto the right. We might see a 1-for-1 trade as Bastet comes over here, but health bars are a little bit too high. We see the double taunt come down onto the Chernobog, and they manage to get out as Zakiel's going to settle for this shield buff on the side of the Cyberpunk Otters. And it's a good show from the Bastet in the left, from Thanatos in the right, forcing the back out of the Surtur as Dead Dank Memes is low in this mid lane. Seox is looking for that kill on the Morgan Le Fay, does not manage to get that, but Dead Dank Memes is pushed back under his tower, and it is going to be a lot of pressure coming out from the side of the Killer Kappas as once again Dave is low, but Zvakio manages to grab a kill in this left lane onto the Geb, onto Pineapple TV, who does manage to get Kalo out, but good gank by the jungler of Cyberpunk Otters, once again making the first blood and early on play. And Davo comes is going to just be dead here to Crouton Crusader. And to be honest, that one has just been coming. It's just been on the way as he's going to go ahead and go for this blue invade. And there is no jungler on this side to stop him. So that's going to be a first blood on the side of Cyberpunk Otters, but a quick response from Crouton Crusader to grab the blue to get the kill on the solo lane. as we see a pause coming in. We're 3 minutes in. We've seen a lot of action. What are you seeing so far?
Oh, I'm seeing that disarm is really making Surtur's life not fun. And like I said, the game's gonna be won over in duo. Zap needs to get that Danzaburo leveled to fight that Tsukiyomi because there's not really much Surtur can do into a Tsukiyomi besides stun him and run away.
Yeah, and I didn't say this before, but looking at these builds, do you see anything? Anything that, catches your eye that you're like, oh, that's different?
Not particularly. I think I would have liked to see a War Flag on Athena over a Benevolence.
Yeah,
But
we
other
we
than that,
do. Yeah, the benevolence not as aggressive as that war flag, and that's kind of traditionally what we see out of gods like an Athena, like a Horus. Those aggressive gods that you're gonna want to say, "I'm gonna be up in your face, putting some pressure on you," but we haven't seen we haven't really seen, it's only 3 minutes in, so I'm not gonna say we won't see. Haven't really seen too much aggression from either of these ADCs so far in this set. They've kind of both been playing pretty conservatively, like I'm not gonna take a risk. I'll wait for my jungler to get over here before I'm gonna engage in a fight. And I think that coming out in this Game three, that, like you said, could be the difference in this solo lane. Just trying to see some aggression in the solo lane, in this duo lane, trying to see some aggression out of an ADC who's going to take that initiative and really, really start forcing down that lane.
yeah, and then we
Maybe
see
that.
the mid lane. Like, the Tsukiyomi pick was really nice into this team. The only person it doesn't really affect is the Bastet. Because
Yeah,
we
we
got
did have a.
Kronos, AA Mage, we've got Danza, whose basics can lay down some hurt, mainly ability, but definitely want to avoid getting hit by those basics still.
Yeah, and we did have a disconnect from the Don Zaburo on the side of Cyberpunk Otters. Jacob, gonna have to get some new internet, buddy. Come on, we got to do better. And the game is resuming as we see a purple invade trying to come down from the side of the Cyberpunk Otters, but Killer Kappas are going to manage to just steal one of the little creeps. Good for them, managed to grab a little bit of XP away from the Killer Kappas duo lane, but still I'd call that a successful purple invade, as they do have the pressure over in this lane. Um,
Nice job. You
and
got one
yeah,
one little minion.
they got one little minion. That's one little minion Killer Kappas did not get. But yeah, so far, pretty even. The only difference that we see is a level lead in that solo lane and a level lead in the support role, as Pineapple did get picked off early, and Crouton does make that a 2-level lead, as this Surtur is really just being forced to sit under his tower, as well as this Cronus early game. Like you said, Cronus late game is going to be nice, but Cronus early game is not going to really do anything, as there's a little scuffle over this shield buff, and Zapkiel is coming over. He wants to make his presence felt once again on this duo lane. Like we said, this is where the focus should be. Bastet does come in. Does the double taunt coming down from the side of the Cyberpunk Otters, and Pineapple TV's health is getting low, and he is just going to be dead. He drops the shield and does not manage to get out. Zapkill does grab his second kill of the game onto Pineapple TV, and that is going to be both kills going over to this jungler onto the support, and Seox is on the run on this Morgan Le Fay away from the Cronus, who he is already down the level on this Cronus, but like you said, the jungler is focusing this duo lane, but not exactly what you want to see. You want to see the ADC be getting killed rather than the support, but still not bad.
Yeah, this Bastet's still getting kills, still getting gold and level and XP. Just not as much as you want.
Yeah, and we did see the Athena ult go down over into that solo lane to help the Surtur out just a little bit, maybe push that Tsukuyomi off. But one thing that we're surprised to see, we have not seen a gank come in from Sniper Glenn yet on this Thanatos. Just kind of farming up, you know, as we see Zapkio in his left jungle on the invite. Crouton grabs another kill onto this Surtur, and he is proxying this wave. That is going to be a 2-0 Tsukuyomi who has 2 levels up on your Surtur, and Surtur's going to lose the entire wave if he doesn't have TP up. As Zapkio manages to grab a kill onto Kalo in opposition, that's a 3-0 Bastet versus a 2-0 Tsukuyomi, and eventually you're going to want to see some help out into this duo lane for the Killer Kappas, as Zapkio is just kind of free running at them over and over again. You already have the 1 level advantage for your Danzaburo, and as we see Cronus, Surtur, and Athena are coming over to get that heal back onto Tsukuyomi. Goes over to Dead Dank Memes in that mid lane, who has a 2-level advantage in that mid on that Morgan Le Fay. That's really going to be the only difference so far. We do see a small difference in the ADCs and in the support, but you know, that's kind of equaled out by the solo lane. As we see Nasiox getting this 2v1 coming in, manages to fight them off. Well done by Siox, but we see Zapkio coming in and says, don't get comfortable, I'm right here. As the ult comes down from Bastet, and that is going to be a dead Morgan Le Fay over to the Cronus. That's a 2-0 Dead Dank Memes on this Cronus. And we still haven't seen a Thanatos gank yet, and we see them calling Gold Fury. This is going to be a Cyberpunk Otters Gold Fury call at 7 minutes into this game. Pretty good call, or a little too ambitious?
I think it's a great call. You just picked the mid laner, right? You have Bastet, who's really strong right now. You've got Kronos, who's 2 levels ahead of your mid laner. Technically a double ADC running with this Kronos.
Man, I wanted to see a Chernobog up ult in the air and try and get in on that Cronus, but it is what it is. Yeah, pretty good play so far for the Cyberpunk Otters. The only hope really for the Killer Kappas right now is you want to see your Thanatos just get an advantage and just try and beat Thanatos, but also play through the solo lane. You know, you've got a 2-1 Tsukuyomi against an 0-2 Surtur who's got a level advantage. As we see Tsukuyomi's kind of rotating in towards his mid lane, he might be looking for something, and he decides just to head back over to that solo lane, probably looking for something if there was something there to find. Not really anything. And
Yeah,
plays coming over from both sides.
if I'm Sniper, I'm like, okay, you want to get your Danza ahead, I'm going to continue to get my Tsukuyomi ahead.
Yeah, and as we see, Zapkio once again on this gank. Sniper Glenn manages to pick up the Surtur, but that might just be a dead Tsukuyomi. And Sniper Glenn is trying to help him out, manages to grab the double kill, and he wants more. He wants 3. Here comes Chernobog in on the ult as Kalo is looking to get in on some of the action. Rory is trying his best to get out and does manage to do so. That was a 4-man rotation over into the solo lane, and that's a great job by Sniper managing to keep his solo laner alive. And Zapkio and Devo fall to the Thanatos, and that's exactly what we needed to see.
Yeah, if you zap, as much as it hurts, you've got to just let this Surtur be.
Yep, as the Surtur is chasing the Thanatos, is he going to be able to grab another one? He will, and Thanatos was 3-0, now 3-1. Surtur does manage to punish him for that tower dive. That's going to be a 3-for-1 trade on the side of the Killer Kappas. And like you said, if you're Bastet, you might just want to let your Surtur just do Surtur things and just do his own and keep focusing on this duo lane. Keep your Danzaburo ahead, because one side wants to play through the solo, one side's going to want to play through the duo. And we do see, as we've left these mid laners alone, mostly Dead Dank Memes does have a 2-level advantage on Sox, which is not exactly what we've seen in the games leading up to this, as Sox has kind of been the dominant force in this mid lane for Killer Kappas, but we see that that's not going to be the case in this game 3, as Zapkio is looking for Kalo. Once again, the ult does come down, the beads comes out, and it's going to be a tower dive coming down. for the Bastet does manage to grab the Chernobog, and that's going to be 4 kills to the side of Zapkiel. And once again, these solo laners are just boxing back and forth. And Crouton Crusader is coming up on top up to this point, as we see there is some fighting going down over in the solo lane. Thanatos is coming over, and we also see a gank coming out in the mid lane. Thanatos is in the air, and he is looking for the Surtur, and that's going to be just a dead Surtur. And in the mid lane, we did see a gank come out of this Athena, not really able to grab anything, but good stuff. Exactly what you said we needed to see out of Thanatos, as Bastet is pinging him out. They know where he's at, and Bastet's covering over this right lane, leaving the Chernobog to free farm a little bit. He's down 2 levels now to this Danzaburo, and we were questioning Sniper's lack of aggression early on, but we've seen that really pick up, and that's kind of
Yeah.
exactly what you want to see if you're the side of the Killer Kappas.
You kind of expect the Thanatos to kind of chill out a little bit in that early game, not really look for too much, and then once it comes to that mid game to late game, you really see him come out.
As we do see a 3-man gank coming over on the side of the Cyberpunk Otters, and that is going to be a kill for Crouton Crusaders back on Zapkiel. He manages to dance on the tower long enough to get a kill back, and they say, oh, you said 3 people, right? Well, we're just going to take this gold lead 3 before the Killer Kappas, and that might be able to even up the gold lead on Cyberpunk Otters, but Dead Dank Memes is there. He wants that steal. Killer Kappas managed to grab it, but a double kill goes over to Dead Dank Memes, and that is going to just straight up take that gold deficit away, as he wants more. Dead Dank Memes is going in for Seahawks. The ultimate has to come out to get away from Kalo, and that is going to be a gold fury for 2 trade. How do we feel about that?
I definitely don't think that was worth it for the Killer Kappas there. Yeah, you've already got your Kronos 2-level lead against your mid. Now he's 3-level lead. You do not want to see the Kronos start to snowball into your team, because once he starts getting these items on, you're going to feel a late game Kronos in the mid game, and it's not fun.
Yeah, and we do see Rory being pretty aggressive on this Athena, as Zapkiel is right there. He's looking for some damage in on this Morgan Le Fay in the mid lane, and can't really find it. They're all just going to back off. They got Oni Furies pushing down the lanes, but with no pressure in any of the lanes other than solo, there's not really much you can do with these Oni waves. Crouton Crusader is looking on this right side for this tower, but Bastet, looking for the invade, manages to get in, get out really quickly. And we see them looking in for the Morgan Le Fay, manages to pull the beads off of her as Sniper's in for this invade on the blue camp, and he might look for more, as the Surtur is, once again, Davo comes no wards, looking for something. As Pineapple TV is low, he manages to use the shell and get out, as Zapkiel jumps in and jumps right back out, takes a couple tower shots. They are looking for Nasiax now, and the ultimate does come down from Cronus, manages to get out, and so does Nasiax. That's going to be a kill for Sniper Glenn. Onto Davo comes in the right lane, and Dave, you might want to start putting down some wards, because it just seems like he's coming over there on cooldown to get you, as we see 2 go down, 1 for each side. And if you're the Killer Kappas and your mid laner is down 3, your carry is down 4, and now your jungler is about to be down to Zakiel again, who is now 6-2 on the Bastet. Crouton doing what he can. You're down in all your lanes other than solo. It's just looking kind of tough for the Killer Kappas.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to see this.
Yeah, as
If
Seahawks
you're
was
Killer
pushing
Kappas.
for the kill onto Zakiel, is not managed to grabbing that, and Zakiel manages to escape. And Killer Kappas are looking for more. Does get the hit onto Davo comes, but that is a full health Surtur, and you are a Geb, so you might just want to get out of there, as they do manage to do. Kalo was looking for something onto DDM, but now he is on the run. Athena is getting that dash ready, looking for Kalo. He manages to get back, and they're going to go for this Pyromancer. Pretty pretty aggressive call if you're the Killer Kappas, but they
I
do
think it's a
have.
little greedy.
Down goes the Geb, two dead thing memes. Once again, the ultimate does come down. They do manage to grab the Pyromancer. If you're the Killer Kappas, they do manage to grab it despite the Athena's best efforts. But they're about to crash on the Athena, but never mind, they're getting crashed on by Surtur. Crouton Crusader manages to grab dead thing memes, and he's looking for Zapkiel as Sniper Glenn was also there. Zapkiel manages to escape a bunch of low health bars on the side of the Killer Kappas as Dave does manage to pick up Chernobog, and that is going to be a 1-for-1 trade with the Pyromancer going over to the Killer Kappas, and Sniper Glenn is looking like he's about to get collapsed on, but a questionable dash in from the Athena, but Sniper Glenn does manage to get out, and so does Rory Mercury, as we have low health bars on both sides. 1-for-1 trade with the Pyromancer going over to Killer Kappas. That is going to be the second objective in a row that they managed to take.
Yeah, but again, is it really worth it? You know, you've got your Chernobog who died. That's all great. He's only level 12. But now Danzig gets free farm.
Yeah, and we do see a pause coming in. Up to this point, what are you kind of looking at as the main difference? I mean, it's not that big of a difference. It's only a 4K gold lead. But what are you looking at as that's been the main difference between these two teams so far?
Team fights, for sure. You know, you seen it over in the solo, the one fight where everybody collapsed on everybody. If Killer Kappas can fight like they did over in that solo lane, we could see a Killer Kappas win here. If Cyberpunk fights like they have been the entire game, we could see a Cyberpunk win. There's not really any team that's super ahead right now. You definitely need the Tsukiyomi and Thanatos to be diving this backline, getting rid of this Danza, getting rid of this Kronos. And we should see a Killer Kappas win if that's the case.
Yeah, I suppose it all does kind of come down to the the difference in the comps. You know, if you're on the side of Killer Kappas, you want to try and get those picks. You want to get onto the back line. You want to do that. If you're the Cyberpunk Otters, the Kappas have shown you no reason why you should really not respect, but respect their team fighting because you've come out on top in all the team fights so far this game. So if you're Kappas, you're going for those picks. If you're Cyberpunk Otters, you're wanting to get into these team fights. You're wanting to fight over an objective. You know, we've seen Kappas kind of prematurely rush two objectives. The Gold Fury that ended in the double kill for Cronus, the Pyromancer which ended in a team fight, bunch of low health bars retreating, and a death to your Chernobog who's already 4 levels down. You know, if you're Kappas, there's a lot of super aggressive calls that are being made, and you got to wonder if they should maybe opt to be more reactive to objective calls than proactive.
I always say let an objective do most of the work for you. Right? Let the enemy team whittle the objective down for you and let the objective whittle their health bars down. It's
Yeah.
always it's always better to go for a steal than for the actual objective unless the entire team is down or you've got a clear advantage.
Oh yeah, and it's just I don't know when you kind of look at these two team comps, like you said, the Tsukuyomi, the Thanatos are going to be the key for the Kappas. While on the other side, keeping this Cronus alive, which he is a Cronus, he does have that ultimate that lets him just kind of do whatever he wants. That's going to be the main thing for the Cyberpunk Otters, and it's been a thing they've been very good at so far. You know, Cronus is 5-1. Their support, Rory, has been making really good rotations, being able to, you know, Not just on the Athena. On the Geb last game, it was the same thing. Making very good rotations, kind of beating Keller Kappas to the punch. And I'm just excited to see moving into this mid to late game how both teams are going to work around what they've put out so far. And yeah, that's pretty much everything as we do have a long pause and we are going to go to break while this pause is going on. We will be right back. All right, and we are back into this game between Killer Kappas and Cyberpunk Otters. Had a quick pause, but we are getting right back into the action as Cyberpunk Otters have decided that the Gold Fury time is now, and they are going to try and take this Primal and keep pushing the advantage that they've built up for themselves in this early game. They do manage to grab that without really too much contest as Zapkio is looking for Sniper Glenn on the Thanatos, forcing the Thanatos to go up into the air, and Zapkio's chasing for more. He wants this Thanatos forced to just jump back. Thanatos dove a little bit too far away, but now it looks like they're chasing this Tsukuyomi as they have 5 men on top of Crouton Crusader. He's trying to get one back, but not really too much you can do in a 5v1. Zapkio manages to grab his 7th of the game, and he's starting to get pretty big on this Bastet as Cyberpunk Otters are rotating over towards this Fire Giant. Do you think that this is a Fire Giant start opportunity? Oh, as they back off now. And we see 2 people on top of the Bastet. We've got the Chernobog and the Geb in this right jungle as Bastet just manages to dive away after doing Bastet damage onto the Chernobog. And Cyberpunk Otters are looking for that beacon. And if they do, which they were kind of rotating over to it, kind of looking at it, you know, window shopping, I suppose, at this Fire Giant. This could be an early Fire Giant, probably one of the earliest we've seen this season.
No, I don't think we're going to see a Fire Giant pull here. We definitely need to see the Tsukuyomi, Morgan Le Fay, and Thanatos fall before we get one of those.
Speaking of, the Chernobog is in trouble. Dave goes up into the air looking for Kalo, and Thanatos is up in the air in response. He's looking for somebody. I think he's going to try and get down onto this Bastet, but that Bastet has some help as there's the Donza Burrow. They're doing all this to try and keep their Chernobog alive. Sniper Glenn falls. Kalo falls to the Cronus, to the Bastet. The Tsukuyomi is in there trying to do as much damage as he can, but the side of Cyberpunk Otters just have too much health. Dead Day Neems takes another, manages to pick off the Tsukuyomi. That's going to be 3 kills on the side of the Cyberpunk Otters. Down comes the Donza Burrow, and he misses. They were taunted. That's a terrible miss, Jacob. And they managed to get a deicide on the side of the Cyberpunk Otters. We're still not going to forget about that miss from you, Jacob, but it's okay because your team wiped up, and that is going to be a 9-2 Bastet, a 7-1 Cronus, and they are looking for a sub 20-minute Fire Giant. And Chernobog is back up. Thanatos is back up, so there may be some hope here, but that Fire Giant health bar is going down with speed. And this is going to be a sub 20-minute Fire Giant from the side of the Cyberpunk Otters. And that is another 1-2 fight. Like we said, they were looking for the pick, and their Chernobog just got caught out of position. Caleb got caught out, and it resulted in the death. The beads do come up from Sniper Glenn. He tries to get up in the air, and Zapkio manages to pick up his 10. And that is going to be another kill, and a Pyromancer going over to the Cyberpunk Otters, who are starting to snowball this game. We're getting little reminiscent flashes of game 2 as it went from 13-9 and now it is 21-9 with a 9k gold lead. And Seox is getting found out by this. That said, the ult does come down. The Morgan Le Fay does manage to get out. But where did it kind of all go wrong for the Killer Kappas?
Just at a certain point, Cyberpunk Otters realized we have levels, we have items, we have gold. Why are we not fighting them? And then Cyberpunk Otters started fighting. And like I said earlier, they are feeling the presence of a late game Chronos in the mid game. as he picks up another kill.
Onto Jackson there, looking for this Oni Fury. Cyberpunk does grab that, and Seahawks getting caught out of position once again as Zapkio is looking for this Tsukuyomi, but his health bar is going down a lot faster than the solo laner of the Killer Kappas, as Pineapple TV's health bar is definitely going down. Crouton doing everything he can to try and keep his support alive, and he's going to fall in response to that. Out came the Surtur ult, not really too much, point for that, but they are going to take this left Phoenix, dropping the Pyro Bomb on it, and it might be looking like they might be trying to end this game. If you're on the side of the Cyberpunk Otters, they're going for this Titan. It's going to be a 5-4 with the Titan's health bar rapidly going down. There needs to be a massive defense from the Killer Kappas. They do manage to grab the Athena. They are trying to push back the rest of them. That Titan's health is getting low. Kalo picks up the Danza Burrow, but that Titan's health bar is almost gone as Dave also falls to Kalo again, and now Cyberpunk is on the race back as Chernobog goes up in the air looking for the Cronus. Zapkio manages to keep Sniper Glenn off of him, but Dead Dank Memes picks up Kalo. That's going to be a lost Chernobog ult, just as things looked good for the side of the Cyberpunk Otter, or for the Killer Kappas. Cyberpunk manages to get that pick onto their ADC that doesn't really allow them to push any of their advantages, and Zapkio is waiting there. He's eyeing out. He wants someone to step out of position, as Killer Kappas have shown that they will do so many times in this game 3, but a little bit ambitious on that Titan attack as Zapkio is messing around with this Morgan Le Fay. The Athena ult does come down, so does the taunt, but the Morgan Le Fay manages to stay alive. Zapkio doing everything he can. The Bastet ult comes down, but only grabs Geb, and the Athena is chasing this Morgan Le Fay. The Geb is going to be the one to fall to, unless he can shield himself. Here comes Tsukuyomi. Geb is on no health, but Tsukuyomi manages to push them off. A great job by Killer Kappas managing to keep their support and their mid laner alive, and they're going to have to put on a hell of a Titan defense if they want to try and win this game or even turn it around. Zapkio down, take a tower shot for no reason. Sniper Glenn is running back. In goes the Bastet. Grabs Sniper Glenn on the Thanatos once again. 11-2 for the Bastet. And down goes Morgan Le Fay down to Devo. And it looks like this might be the end of the Killer Kappa season run, as they are fighting 5v3 on this Titan. Crouton manages to pick up Danza Burrow. Pineapple manages to pick up Devo. Zap does pick up Kalo. That Titan is on no health as they are chasing the Cyberpunk Otters out. But Dead Dank Meme sneaks in the back, and that is just going to be the end. Unless Crouton Crusader makes a hell of a free. Zapkio, and they are pushing them off this Titan that is on absolutely no health. Geb is rolling in behind. The taunt goes down from Rory, and he manages to escape with less than a quarter of his health bar. What a play by Crouton Crusader to keep the Killer Kappa season alive. They're doing everything in their power to keep themselves in this game. Just keep on surviving. It's only an 8k gold lead. They can get back into it. They got to get this left Phoenix up, but you do have to be careful. Whenever this Cronus gets back up, he will be hunting for your Titan like he just was. And
now that Titan push was pretty greedy. You still have a tower up. You've got back gold defense going.
And speaking of greedy,
don't want to see that.
Speaking of greedy, Killer Kappas are going after this Fire Giant. It still will not be EFG. Remind you guys, we are only 25 minutes into this game 3, and one of the Titans is already so low. We see Crouton pushing those waves out and left, and he is going to have to back as Cyberpunk grab Pyromancer, and they are also looking for a Fire Giant. We're going to have to see another amazing defense out of the Killer Kappas, but this time they are not going to have all those protections on their Titan. But the Titan will start to heal as that Phoenix does come up in the left lane. However, it's going to be hard to defend if you don't have 2 of your members. Down goes the Morgan Le Fay. Once again, Danza ult is coming in. That is going to be a dead jungler as well. And it's going to be a 3v5 once again as the Cyberpunk Otters march down this right lane. That Titan is about half health. How long can they give these Phoenix to get up these Titans? Down goes the Pyro Bomb. And those health bars are dropping kind of fast for Cyberpunk. Dead Dank Memes grabs the kill onto the Geb, Pineapple TV. And they are dropping another bomb onto this Phoenix. They managed to get it down. Titan is about half health. And that is going to be a kill on the Kalo. It's Crouton Crusader versus the world. We saw what he could do last time. Can he pull out a miracle again? That Titan is going to go down despite his best efforts, and that is going to be a 2-1 win for the Cyberpunk Otters, who look dominant once again, ending with a 13k gold lead. And I don't even know what to say. That game was crazy.
That last little bit, Crouton Crusader on that kill on the Kronos. Oh my! I never saw that. I thought that was game, and then
Yeah,
Kronos
man.
just got evaporated by the Tsukiyomi. That
Yeah, man.
Killer
Crazy
Kappas
plays
really
coming
put
out
up
of
a
this.
fight. Killer Kappas
Yes,
really
man,
put up
and
a fight.
that is unfortunate to see the Killer Kappa season come to an end, potentially, we think like that. And that game, the difference, honestly, I think might have just been the early aggression towards the duo lane coming out of Zapkiel, and Dead Dank Memes managed to win the mid lane over just by himself. We see Natsiak still down 3 levels to end that game. What did you think was the biggest difference?
Definitely. I think it was in the jungle this game. Again, Zap was just everywhere he needed to be. Couldn't really do too much, and then out of nowhere, DDM got ahead of Not Sucks and kind of ran away with it.
Yeah, man, and honestly, that is just how it goes. You know, your jungler got up big early. Your duo lane got up big early. That damage from the Danzaburo was really crazy, but the Cronus was the difference. And despite Crouton Crusader's best efforts on the Tsukuyomi, he just, you're only one guy. So
You can't
that
you
is going
can't
to
do
be
it
it.
all.
Yep, that is going to be it for this week 5 matchup. I've been T Pity, your chair one. I've been here with one of the best junglers in the Walker division. It's ISO with Wolfie on the production. And we will see you guys tomorrow night for another playoff deciding matchup in the Walker division.